Hey everyone, it is Brian Woodworth, and I just wanted to do a quick video for you because I wanted to share something that has been showing up for me over the past few days, and I wanted to share it with you because I also want you to listen to this and apply it and explore it for your own life. And what I want to do is I want to ask you to listen to this and watch this video, but more importantly, I want you to consider sharing it with all the people that you can possibly share it with, because this is a massive, life-changing, game-changing situation. So let me tell you what happened and what's been happening. As for many of us, there are a lot of shifts happening. There's a lot of a lot of energy showing up universally, which is making life interesting for a lot of us. And so for me personally, what's been showing up is that I've been exploring some things that are holding me back, some blocks that are big things that are holding me back in life. And so I always do my best to explore, to figure out what the hell's going on. And for most of you that know, I spend a lot of time in meditation. I don't have a lot of outside influences influencing me, reading books, listening to, different people. Everything I do is from a place of going deep within and allowing that awareness that's already there to become known. And so what's interesting for me is that I started having a conversation with somebody that said to me, I shared what was going on, and they said to me, wow, that's awesome, that's amazing, and yes, definitely that stuff needs to be worked through, because if not, it's going to continue forward and create more, disruption. And when she said this to me, it really resonated with me, and I didn't understand why at the time, so I started exploring it. But I knew what she had said was very, very impactful, and I was supposed to hear it. So here's what else started showing up, is that I started seeing these patterns that were in my life, and I wanted to explore it. And, I've done some of the deepest work psychologically over the last 15, 16, 17 years. I've done tons of personal development, self-improvement, which is that industry primarily focuses on the psychological part of things. And that's where there's a major disconnect that needs to be talked about and explored, because the psychological level will only get a person so far before they have to start exploring on a deeper level. And what I'm talking about is from a deeper spiritual, cellular, energetic level, because that's where things are being overlooked that are making profound impacts in people's lives that are creating more blocks and pain and suffering and disruption, because the worldwide idea is to start exploring things on a psychological level, and that's going to fix things, that's going to solve things, and it's just not going to happen. Not if a person wants to get to the absolute foundation of what's really going on within their life. So here's what happened. Let me tell you a little backstory first. I was starting to see these blocks in my life and these patterns. And one of them that was showing up for me lately was in regards to relationships. Because as some of you know, I just recently walked away from a relationship that with a woman that I deeply loved. But I knew I had to do it because there was something there that was preventing me from stepping into my full power. And so I've explored that, and it's a beautiful thing, and even more so than I ever thought before. But this pattern started showing up that where when I would get close to somebody and I would give my heart to them, one, it scared the hell out of me, and it freaked me out. And so I would usually find a way to kind of separate myself, pull away, because I was afraid of getting hurt, and that sucks, and I don't want to go through that. Been there, done that, like most of us have. So this pattern was I would get so far down in a relationship, and when it really got something very special and really deep and very well connected, it freaked me out, and I started pulling away. Well, I wanted to know where that was coming from, because I'd done the deeper work psychologically, but it was still showing up. I was more mindful of it, but it was still there. It was still present, and it was still something that I had to consciously and mindfully work through and be present to. But I knew there was something else there. So I wanted to explore it, especially after I had that conversation where she said, yeah, you definitely need to look at that because that's going to continue. So as I started exploring it, I looked at all different areas, and here's one of the things from the psychological standpoint that's creating more disruption, is that from a guy's perspective, most of us have been told, okay, start focusing on what's showing up with your relationship or lack of relationship with your dad, your father. And so I did that for years and became aware of some really amazing stuff. But what was starting to show up over the last few days is I was starting to be guided to say, hey, look more on your mother's side and on a deeper spiritual, energetic, cellular level, which I'd never done before. And so I did. And if you know anything about energy, if you don't, here's a great idea or a great way to start learning, is that energy is ever present. It's always been here, always will be. Okay, the energy that occupies these mind bodies that we walk around in has been here before, will be here forever, and it's never going anywhere. So what happens is that energy that's ever present chooses to come through, the womb of a woman that creates life. Okay? Now, let me stop for a second. If you would have told me this a few years ago, I would have said, are you lost? Have you lost your mind? Are you crazy? Have you hit your head? What the hell's going on? But because I've done everything from a pure nature that just comes into me without any influence, I start to pay attention a hell of a lot more so if it was a case where somebody had just told me something. So when this started showing up, it says explore that from your mom's standpoint. I started exploring it from an energy standpoint and a cellular standpoint, a spiritual standpoint, where I knew that energy passed through my mom who created me. Knew that. But then I started exploring what was going on before I was even born, which meant I started exploring my mom's life and what she had went through, what she was experiencing over the course of her life. And to give you another backstory with my mom, without sharing too many details, and I've got her permission to do so, is that she had an experience in her childhood when she was very young with her sister. And it was a very traumatic situation for her. And when she came to me and she said to me, this is fascinating, by the way. She came to me, and it's been probably 10, 12 years ago when this happened. And she said to me, can I share something with you that I've never shared with anybody? Now, you can imagine as her son, I was like, holy shit, what is she getting ready to share with me? That she's never shared with anybody, including my dad, my sister, everybody. I was the first one that she had ever shared this with. So she told me the story, and it was something that I wouldn't wish on anybody, okay? But I remember asking her the question. I said, Mom, do you remember what you said in that moment that happened? And keep in mind, this happened probably 45 years prior, even probably longer than that, now that I think about it. And without skipping a beat, like it had just happened the day before, she said to me, of course, she said, I said to myself in that moment, I will never let somebody get that close to me, and I will never let somebody hurt me like that again. I was like, holy shit. Like it was yesterday, she said it, not skipping a beat. That's how deeply rooted and how big of an impact that made on her life. And instantly I knew exactly where that was showing up for me and where it stemmed from. It came from even well before I was born, through my mom's energy that occupied her, and through her experiences that she went through in her life. The energy that created me, Brian, had to pass through her, and also had to pass through all of that energy and all that trauma and all that experience that she went through just to create me. So what happened is I inherited that energy from her that passed through her, with all the stuff attached to it of that trauma, that experience, all of that. And it became part of me. And I was unknowing. I had no idea this was about until I started exploring this on the deeper cellular, spiritual, energetic level. Now, I'm telling you this because going back to that conversation, that I had where she said to me, yes, you need to really work through that, because if not, that's going to continue. Well, here's why I tell you that, because as some of you know, in meditation, I've seen things, seen the passing of my sister or my dog. I've also seen there's a baby girl in my future, which is magical in itself. But what's fascinating about this is that knowing this, okay, and becoming aware of this, that's one of the reasons why this baby girl hasn't been created yet. Because I will be damned if I'm going to allow that baby girl that I have been shown to have to take on my stuff that I am unaware of, because I'm not willing to do the deepest work possible. And whoever that little girl will pass through will also has either done the deeper work or is in the process of doing it. Because to keep bringing that energy into the world without doing the deepest work on ourselves, we're just going to continue and perpetuate the pain and suffering unknowingly. Because we've been told that the psychological part is where the magic's at. And that's where the answers are. That's where the solutions are. And it's not. Where the magic and the solutions at the deepest level possible are is at the energetic, spiritual, and cellular level that most people are just completely unaware of. So I do this video so that you can start becoming aware yourself of things that are impacting your life at the deepest level possible, that are holding you back and preventing you from stepping into your full power. Now, this may sound absolutely crazy for some. Totally cool with that, okay? You're just not ready for it, like I wasn't years ago. But I'm telling you with absolute certainty, if you get to a point of being open enough to explore this, you're going to become aware of something that will absolutely change your life forever. Because we have to start doing the deepest work possible if we really want to shift things on the deepest level possible in this world. So, again, I share this with you and to share my story, share the experience, but also so that you can take this and start exploring your own life. But also so that you will take this video and share it with as many people as you possibly can so that they can do the same. This is, like I said, something so profound and so big and has such the opportunity to make some major shifts in people's lives and ultimately the universe, that it needs to be shared. And it also needs to be shared with men in your life, because we've been told from the psychology standpoint to explore your relationship with your father or lack of relationship. And that's not where the answer is. The answer is much deeper than that. And the answer is also, and more importantly, on the mother side, that definitely needs to be explored so that the men in this world can really get to the foundational level of what's impacting their life on a daily basis. So, with that being said, please share this with as many people as you can. Tell them, look, just be open to it. It might sound crazy at first, but just share it so that it can impact the lives of as many people around this world as possible. So, with that being said, I'm Brian Woodworth with the Inward Project. If I can ever do anything for you, if you want to explore this further, you want my help in doing so, reach out to me, connect with me, and let's do it together. So, that being said, stay well and keep shining your light.